When shopping this holiday season, you may see options allowing you to buy now, pay later. It seems very enticing, but is it too good to be true? Here to help us decide is Ashley Nguyen. How are you, Ash?
Hi.
So what is buy now, pay later? How does it work?
Okay. Hi, Tracy.
Hello,
hello. Excited to be here again. Okay, so buy now, pay later. Think of it as installment loans. You're going to break out that installment loan for a product that you might want to purchase over time.
Okay.
It's kind of like the opposite of layaway. If
Yes.
you remember back in the day,
Yes.
you know, you pay it all up front and then you get the product later. Imagine this being you pay a little bit up front and then over time you're going to pay it out. And buy now, pay later has blown up in Canada. Over the last year, it's grown by 52%. It's about $2.13 billion in size by the end of 2023. So it's really growing in Canada.
I was telling to the audience, I was at a store the other day, and I said to the young man, can I do layaway? And he said, ma'am, what is layaway? And I felt like I should take out bifocals and my cane. So this is interesting. People are into the buy now, pay later. Can you buy now, pay later with any purchase at any store?
Yeah, so it really depends on the merchant. So
Okay.
if whoever is selling it decides to make it a payment option, it's there. So imagine you're buying a product online. And this can happen in store too, but let's say you're buying a product online. You would go to the payout page.
Yeah.
And so they normally have a debit option, a credit option, and then over time we've also seen PayPal join the mix. We've seen Apple Pay join the mix. So imagine this being another option. So we have folks like Klarna, Afterpay, a whole suite of different providers.
Yeah.
And they allow you to do this installment loan over time.
Okay, so we've got a graphic here showing a typical payment breakdown.
Yeah.
You want to walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the payment breakdown is really, we're using an example here, but what's awesome about this is it shows you how we can actually do it. So imagine you get to the checkout page, you decide to use one of the buy now, pay later companies, you fill out a short form, right? That form is going to do a soft credit check. It's not like a hard credit check where it's going to temporarily drop your credit score.
Okay.
And then as a result, they'll say yes or no within like 5 seconds whether or not you're approved. Okay, so that's how it works.
Okay.
Now let's say you go and you want to buy a a piece of furniture, right? And not on layaway, but on buy now, pay later. And they're going to say, okay, great, I want you to, it's normally broken out to 4 payments. I want you to pay the first quarter of it right away.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks from then, you're going to pay the next quarter. And then you keep going until you pay the full 1,000. But what's important to highlight here is there's no interest.
Okay.
Right? The product is 1,000, you're paying 1,000.
Okay, so that's very straightforward.
Yep.
But you say we do need to be aware of a few things. Like things can go a little bit awry with this system.
Yeah, exactly. So one really big point is that there are late fees associated sometimes and overdraft fees. So while the company may not charge you itself, what you're going to be facing is, let's say here we have an example, your headphones. Let's say you miss one of these 4 payments. Okay, the headphones are $135. Well, you could effectively get an NSF fee for $5, an overdraft fee for $30. This is your bank charging you as well as the payment company, and then you end up actually paying $170 for these headphones. So you're actually paying 26% more for these headphones than you would have initially paid. I think what's really important to note here is you can do this type of payment and then have a bunch of them, and if you miss any of them, that's going to be an issue. So you're going to have to just make sure you stay really disciplined along the way.
Yes, because I feel like you're setting yourself up for having a whole bunch of different loans out there, right?
Yep.
So maybe only do it when you really need to do it.
Exactly.
I came home yesterday and our boiler was busted. So it's like, oh, could we do that on buy now, pay later? That's like 5 figures, like, and it's winter, so it would be nice. So there's certain things where I feel like it would make sense. Like maybe you don't have the whole amount right this moment. So is there ever a good time to do buy now, pay later?
Yeah, so you nailed it. I think the flexibility, and hopefully now your boiler company is going to offer some new type of payment.
Yeah.
But that's exactly it. What you want to do is make sure that, first of all, that you're disciplined. Those big chunks creates that flexibility. And sometimes folks who don't have the greatest credit score, as an example, they might get approved for something like this. So again, it takes you through a season. You just have to make sure that you're disciplined so that you're not accumulating additional debt. Because if you don't pay back that debt, you could still effectively get that could still go to the credit bureau, and you could still that could still have a hit on your credit score over time.
Right.
So it's really important. But another pro to it is, imagine you don't take all that money and pay for something really big up front, right? You could get approved up to $30,000 in this buy now, pay later environment,
really?
which is huge,
That's
right?
huge.
So imagine being able to keep some of that money in a savings account. The ones that actually generate, high yield savings, you get some interest, right? So here's a really good example of, let's say you want to go on a trip, right? That trip you're going to pay over time. But if there's some of that money that you can keep into your savings account, such as a high yield savings account, and here we have a 4.5% example, that's going to allow you to actually make interest in money. And in this case, it's $13. But imagine that over a lot of money, right?
Yes.
That there's an opportunity to make some money on that investment.
I look at that and I just make my own girl math calculation. If you have a trip and you pay for it all and you pay it off before you go on the trip was free. You paid it off. So maybe don't write that in your notes, but write what she said in your notes. Ashley, thank you so much for that. That was good information. All right, here's something you won't have to buy. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 is now out on digital, Blu-ray, and DVD. Ethan Hunt is on a deadly mission to track down a terrifying new weapon that threatens humanity. Everyone in the audience will get a copy of Mission Impossible. Go have some fun and watch that. Let's go to break. We got more coming up. Stay with us.